Hello. So this is why Sage Timberline Estimating is a much better fit for an estimator than Excel is. Number one, when you have formulas, you can read them in English. Look at this, length times width times height. You don't have this A1 times A3 times A4 business. When you use the formulas inside of takeoff, and I'm just going to do a very simple takeoff here. When you use the formulas inside of takeoff, the answers, the variables come to you so that you can read them, and then the formula is calculated. Reason two, in any list that you have inside of Sage Estimating, you can expand the list and collapse the list with these two buttons right here, or you can drill in. I can click on concrete, then come down and look at footing forms, and I can see exactly the footing forms that are available to me. I have a simple estimate here. I can open the estimate up like it is right now, see all the detail, or I can collapse it and collapse it. And again, I can open up one specific section and come in and drill down into one area. While you can set this up in Excel, it's a lot of work. Inside of estimating, it is simply native to the program. You just do it. The next reason is you can store different views of how you like to look at the information. So I have a simple estimate here. I'm seeing the descriptions of all the work, the takeoff quantities, my unit of measure, and I'm seeing the amount, which means total in estimating, for the labor, materials, subcontract, and equipment, and then the total amount. But if I click up to right here, there are other views that I can look at. So if I click on this one right here, I am looking at more detail of how estimating looks and how things are being calculated. Or I can look at the grand totals, which brings over the total amount plus all my markups and add-ons to give me a grand total of what the project is. The next reason, we can sort the estimate in different ways. I am looking at the phase item view, so everything is organized per each phase and each item. I can click on takeoff order. I'm looking at things strictly in the order of takeoff. If I click on assembly order, I'm seeing things by each of the assemblies or groups of items that have been taken off. But by build and assembly, I'm looking at all my costs in the admin building and then all the costs at Stedman Hall. If I double click here, it collapses it. It will collapse. I can open it up, open it up. So I'm doing a combination right here of resorting my estimate, and I am also looking at the collapse and the expand. I can look at it by building and then by floor. So I'm reorganizing my estimate again. So here's my admin building, and then here's Stedman Hall. Here's the foundation work, the work on floor 1, the work on floor 3. If I look on admin building, here's the work in the foundation, and here's the work on floor 1. I can open up and look at that. Here's the partitions on floor 1, 895 linear feet total. So the next thing we can do with Timberline estimating is you can copy work. So for example, I can take this assembly right here, and this is an assembly, and I can copy the assembly. And see how it just makes a copy of it? And now I could take this work right here, and I can move it. I can say, this belongs to floor 2 because I know floor 2 is an exact copy of floor 1. Without having to recreate that, here is that work all done. We can spread money inside of estimating. So if I'm looking at Stedman Hall and I'm looking at the work that is on floor 3, and I can open this up, I can highlight all of this work right here for the material. And if I know that this work is going to happen after the admin building, which I'll collapse, and this work on the 3rd floor is going to be occurring last on the project, I can adjust this column and say, I would like to raise all this cost for the material by 5%. And notice that it has done so. It has given this little tick mark right here in red. When I put my cursor on it, I have to get this exact. It is going to tell me with a little yellow button right there of what the adjustment is. So we can spread money. The next reason is inside of estimating, provided you set up the bill of material system, there is a specific bill of material reports. And what the bill of material reports does for you is it allows you to send out to your suppliers an exact list of the things you need. If you're a construction manager type and you're subcontracting out work, this is not so valuable. If you're an in-place contractor where you're actually doing the work, extremely valuable to you. The final thing of what you can do inside of Sage Estimating that you cannot do in Excel is this. Here is the totals page. This page summarizes my labor, material, subcontract cost from the spreadsheet and equipment and other costs if I had some. And then on top of this, I can bring in markups or add-ons, as they're called in estimating. These add-ons can be calculated from this value right here. So for example, net margin on current total. This number is being calculated on this number at 10%. And you can see that is 31,302, 313,020. You cannot do this in Excel. You get into circular logic in your formulas. In estimating, you can do this over and over and over again. So I could have many of these calculations based upon the net margin, and it will do them all. So these are some reasons of why Sage Timberline Estimating is an advantage to you over Excel spreadsheets. Thank you very much for your time. Talk to you later.